Hello, David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. I'm joined by a very familiar face, my wife Danielle. Hun, welcome back.
Hello.
What was the last video you did?
It's been a while.
It's got to be either
It was
alcohol or
something
chocolate.
with drinking, I believe.
It was. And that was part of like coming back here. I needed to have some libation. So what are we drinking today?
That'd be Bollinger.
A little bit of Bollinger. I'll open it up.
Well, come on.
Get it, yeah, hurry up, get it open. So this Bollinger is actually compliments of Luke Taggart from the Bond's apartment.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Luke.
Do you know who that is?
I don't.
That's honest. You don't need to, right?
I'll look it up later.
So he's a nice gentleman who was able to go to an early screening of No Time to Die.
Oh, very nice.
And as a thanks for that, he sent us this wonderful bottle of Bollinger.
Oh,
I know.
well, thank you.
Pretty nice. And it's a good segue because what are we talking about today?
Oh, we're talking about No Time to Die,
We are.
the movie.
And this is an interesting discussion because it's a bit of a, as you saw by the thumbnail, it's a bit of a he said, she said. And you've had opinions about this film right from the get-go when we saw it at the Royal Albert Hall. But I think you want to preface this whole discussion with something.
Right. So I have not seen any reviews. I haven't watched any of your reviews.
Well,
Truth be told.
you shouldn't,
Haven't seen
and
any.
you don't, yeah.
Or Calvin or anybody else who's
Hold
done
it, hold on,
reviews.
hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on,
Go ahead.
hold on.
Yep.
Oh, that was a bit premature.
I just didn't want to get
It
hit.
sounded good. All right. So go ahead, keep going
It'll
with your...
taste even better.
So you haven't seen any reviews.
So no reviews. So whatever I'm gonna say is just coming from my own thoughts. Nothing's like being parroted from anything else that I have seen. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, I think that's important because
Yeah.
let's face it, there's
There's been a lot of reviews already.
been a lot of reviews and
Yeah.
it's literally like over a month after the movie's premiered.
Wow, has it been that long?
It has.
Wow.
So I mean,
Cheers.
cheers. Thank you for doing this. So the reality is that some people have a slight variation on. she's got a. No, you have to hydrate. I get it.
I'm so thirsty.
Thirsty for Bollinger, imagine that. But I think that was important to say because you're not going to be tainted, skewed, or influenced by other people's thoughts. And you've had some strong feelings about this film from the get-go.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Let's see if I can remember them.
and also, as part of a little bit of preface of this discussion, you actually made a request. It was interesting. So you saw it at Royal Albert Hall. How was that experience?
I mean, it was really cool being amongst all those people, certainly because we've been in a pandemic now, which feels like forever.
Did I pour you champagne? 'Cause
No,
it's
you
almost
forgot to
gone.
fill my glass. So it was amazing being around all those people and the energy and seeing everybody all dressed up, and the environment was wonderful. The seats are tiny.
So tiny.
There's
so
no
tiny.
cushion in them.
And you're sandwiched in between
Yeah,
like
I
big
was
burly men.
kind of squished.
Yeah.
And no sleep and hardly any food, but that's besides the point.
That's true.
So yeah, the acoustics aren't great in there. So some of the dialogue was lost, and therefore some of the plot points were lost.
Yes. And then you saw it the next night.
Yeah.
But what happened then?
I slept through about 95%
She
of
did.
it. Sorry.
She did. It was the Oliver Brown event, but you were
Yeah,
exhausted.
it was a great event. Oliver Brown put on such a nice event.
Yeah.
Again, food, drink, everything was fantastic.
And by the way, we had been drinking throughout the day because we were sent to all these wonderful events where we were drinking Bollinger.
And everybody was so generous. So every time you went in
Yes.
somewhere, have something to drink, have something to drink. And I'm not one to turn down a drink.
Clearly, as evidenced. So it was interesting. You need to know this. Danielle came to me about a week ago and said, listen, if we're going to do this video,
Yeah.
I kind of need to see the movie again.
Yeah.
So you saw it, we saw it together
Yes.
with the right sound,
Yes.
the right visual. So I think you're ready for this.
Comfortable seats.
Comfortable
It was
seats.
nice.
And a drink again.
Themed drinks.
What did you have? It was like a No Time to
oh.
Die special drink.
It had Campari in it. Oh, where's the glass?
It's
I don't know.
somewhere. Oh,
I
it's
can't-
way back there.
Okay, well, I can't remember, but it was a good drink.
It was a good drink.
And it came in a cute cup. So
Yes. It was almost like a Negroni.
yeah,
type
yeah.
thing.
Is that what it was?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. All right. So here we're going to do it because I've had some very strong feelings about the film. I will say that the film for me has not grown in appreciation over time.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say. I mean,
Okay.
it kind of ranks about middle to low ranking as far as Daniel Craig films.
Ooh.
I am not a fan of the bad guy, Saffin. I think that's some weak points. And I'm also not a fan of the ending. So we're going to be talking about a lot of these things. But
Okay.
I'd like you to start with your reaction when we started to walk out of the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh my gosh, it was like you were coming from a funeral. It was nobody wanted to talk.
Yeah.
It was quiet. People were just really beside themselves. I think everybody needs to just go out and get a drink and kind of commiserate afterwards. So I think that's pretty much what we did.
We did. We went to
Yeah.
our hotel bar.
Yeah, great place. I love that place.
We had a drink before I went out to a casino, and you retired for the night. But
I got comfy.
you did get comfy. So but
Yeah.
you said something right off the bat that I thought was interesting about kind of what type of movie this was for, depending on
You're
the
right.
gender watching it.
Yeah, and I really don't like to put things in boxes for men and women. I really don't like doing that. I think my quick takeaway on that whole part is the diehard Bond fans definitely going to have issues with this film. You know, but the dates of said diehard Bond fans,
Yes.
particularly, I would think women, not to generalize everybody, but women, the dates, there was a lot to really like.
Yeah.
You know, there was so much romance and love and family and, you know, sacrifice and all these things that you would want in like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah. You
They
did say
put it
that.
in there. So does it belong in a Bond film? Probably not.
Yeah, and I think it was very wise what you said. You said to me, you kind of turned and you said, you know, it's almost like a Hallmark film that just happens to have Bond at the center.
Yeah, but look, there was a fair amount of action. The action was good. Great locations as always. So they had elements of a Bond film, but also elements of like, you know, like a dramatic romance film.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, well, here we go. Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
I mean, when we when we start the film, the pre-title sequence is about them kind of having a little bit of a honeymoon.
Right.
You know, that interaction back and forth. I will tell you, as much as I didn't want to see a Bond film that was all about relations and honeymoon, I was totally fine with the pre-title sequence because I think once they explore kind of his past and Vesper, they get right into the action. So I'm not being
Yeah.
saturated with the romance factor.
Yes.
So what did you think of the pre-title sequence?
Well, I mean, Matera's gorgeous, and
It
maybe
is.
we'll go there.
Bucket list.
Yeah.
Bucket list.
Definitely a place I want to go.
Listen to us, Mayor of Matera. We will get there. We promise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a place we want to visit. No, it was great because to your point, like they really got into the action. You know, car chase, bullets flying, gadgets in the car, excitement. But there's also, you know, that tremendous sense of betrayal, which I think Craig has been struggling with over his course of his films. Right, that's been
Trust.
a big issue for
Yeah.
him. Yeah, trust and betrayal.
Yeah.
Those have been common themes, I think, throughout these films.
And they wove it together effectively. I don't think it was forced. I didn't feel like I was like, oh, you're taking me out of a Bond film at this particular point.
No, not at that moment.
Yeah.
No.
And then they go into kind of the rest of the film where you're getting, I mean, I felt at least, you know, when he puts her on the train, you know, you kind of have that moment. I don't know, I had more believability with their relationship this time around than Spectre.
Oh, right. So, yeah, and I need to add to that. I think, and now, you know, before we continue, the acting in this film, I think, is probably the best acting out of all the Craig films.
Yeah.
Casino Royale, I think the acting was really, really good in that too. But this, particularly, Leah,
They used to do. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
she did phenomenal in this film. I didn't particularly like her in the other one. She was kind of wooden, but this one, her acting was flawless, even the facial expressions. And I think, you know, the director, Cary Fukunaga, did I say
Fukunaga.
that? Fukunaga.
There's a G in there. Yeah.
He did a fantastic directing the actors. I mean, just amazing.
So far, there is no he said, she said, because it's like we said.
Yeah.
Because I 100% agree. I think the acting was better in this. Léa Seydoux, when the DB5 is being pelted by the bullets.
Oh my God.
And she looks and she's crying. She's like,
yeah.
it's like, and he goes, okay.
Yeah.
Like, that was so well done.
Yeah, that was such a tense scene.
Yeah.
But really well done.
So he puts her on the train.
Yeah.
What did you think of the? We have to ask these questions. We have to ask these questions.
Okay.
What did you think of the song itself? So we get the title, the songs, and.
Yeah, I don't. I don't love Billie Eilish to begin with.
Didn't see that coming.
And I love all forms of music. I really do. Don't get me wrong.
You do.
But that like whispery talk singing stuff just doesn't work for me. And I understand why they used her. They wanted to use the flavor of the month and to get younger people interested. And they almost always seem to use whoever's trendy. But if you see a lot of people who've done Bond songs in prior films, they did that and then their careers died afterwards. So I don't know. Good luck, Billy. But
Wow.
sorry. But yeah.
No, you gotta call them like you see them.
Now,
do you even remember the pre-title sequence visually?
I remember elements. It seemed like there was elements from all the Craig films that were kind of thrown in there, particularly Casino Royale. I remember there was elements of that and elements of some of the other films. Yeah,
some of the other stuff. All right, so
There's been a few.
Now we've got Bond in Jamaica, and it still to me feels like a Bond film. Now that he's retired and almost like pushed her aside, what did you think of the Jamaica scenes?
They were great. Jamaica is a beautiful country anyway, but I love. And I think, this is where you start to come in with the strong women. So I absolutely love the way that they wrote the women in this film. Yeah. They didn't write them as women, per se. They wrote them as strong characters who happen to be women.
Ooh.
And I don't like when films bang you over the head with, I'm woman, hear me roar. We are feminists and blah, blah, blah. Well,
what's one?
Yeah, that superhero movie.
The Marvel?
Yeah, the Avengers, when all the women are all lined up and it's like, here we go. And it's like...
through slow momotion walking towards the camera.
It's cool, but it's like they're hammering you over the head with it. With this, it's like the agents were agents, and it just, they were badass women, but they could have been men or women. It really didn't matter the way it was written. And I love that. I would love to see Hollywood do more of that. It doesn't have to be, hyper feminized or, feminist type roles. Like, let's just do good writing. And it happens to be women in those roles.
I'm so proud. I by the way, and I'm going to go back to the beginning of this video. Danielle didn't watch anything. She hasn't been influenced by anything.
Oh, yeah, no.
I remember you having this comment literally the night we saw this, where
even after Royal Albert Hall, that was that night.
And you felt like these were it felt almost like I'll say it, gender neutral.
Completely.
The characters were written just well.
Yeah, and it didn't matter. Like the men and the women, they worked together.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter what their gender was, and I loved that.
Yeah, I wish more films.
Oh my gosh.
Would gravitate to that. There just seems to be this like hit over the head with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, and I found, that's the other thing. I think they've completely stripped all the misogyny out of this movie. No James Bond misogyny whatsoever. Yeah,
it's okay. They'll get it back. No,
I don't know. So that element I think was missing. Not that I missed it. It was interesting. Like, I think it's really brought it into a modern era.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Well, there were some choices that was kind of interestingly made, because this is the film that a lot of people talk about. And again, you haven't seen the reviews, but a lot of reviews talk about, it just seemed like they were trying to kill everybody off. So you have Felix die. Yeah, what did you think of that scene?
They didn't have to do him like that. I mean, come on, guys.
Why you gotta do Felix like that?
They didn't have to do Felix like that. They just did not have to do him like that. He was such a lovable character. Why you gotta cap him off in the boat?
Cap him off.
No reason for it.
No.
None. It didn't advance the plot line.
No.
Like, it just...
Like, he was already in the mission itself. He didn't...
Right. And he was going to do it, no matter what.
Yeah.
But,
Agreed. Now, you get a part and I'd love, and I'm not even going to like preheat this. You have Bond, after all of that, get in his boat and go to Cuba and meet Paloma.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, so tell me about that
Yeah,
scene.
she was great. And I know you interviewed her. I would have loved to have asked her how in the world she kept everything kept together while she's doing the fighting sequences, because the dress, I love that dress. It's amazing. But, it came down to about her belly button.
Yeah.
And how does everything stay in place while you're fighting? I want to know how much tape they used.
I did ask her about that dress.
Oh, you did?
And she said that there were different versions of the dress. So I have a feeling that there were dresses that could move better than others, and ones that
for
looked
static
elegant.
moments and
exactly.
and action moments.
But to
that
me,
makes sense.
that scene captured
it was
the
fun. Yeah.
Yes.
It was a very fun scene. Yeah.
And it felt like a little bit of the Bond movies of old, even like Brosnan and Moore and things like that.
Yeah.
But also it was a very Daniel Craig moment, because you had the Daniel Craig badass scenes where he like drinks the drink and then throws the tray, or throws a tray and drinks the drink. I forget. But he has like 2 or 3 drinks while he's fighting. I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she acts all innocent, but to your point, suddenly when she goes into fight mode, she's totally badass.
Right. And he even kind of says something to her like, oh, how many weeks of training?
3.
Whatever, 3 weeks of training?
3 weeks.
Yeah, right. Well, we all knew there had to be more than that.
Maybe she grew up on the streets of Cuba.
See, I think we need to explore that character more, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe they'll bring her into some subsequent movies. I don't know. But
I think they're going to take the Daniel Craig era.
Yeah,
and go,
I think they have completely
done
just
and done.
yeah.
But she was great. Everybody said
Yeah.
like if there's gonna be almost like an Amazon one-off like 90-minute side character movie, it should be Paloma.
Yes, Amazon, get on that. Yeah.
Bezos.
I would want to see that.
Bezos, stop with your like penis rockets and get on the Paloma movie. Is what we're saying.
Oh.
All right. So he goes from Cuba. He's got we got to talk about some of the ancillary characters, because he's got this. The professor, he's got the scientist.
Yeah, he was a little goofy.
Was he too goofy for this movie?
Yeah, I think he kind of was.
Okay.
I think, it's kind of reminding me of I'm Invincible, that guy, from the Brosnan movie.
Yes.
He's even clicking the pen,
yeah.
like
Boris,
yeah. Then like the
Boris.
really bad Russian accent.
Yeah,
I don't know. That was kind
Alan
of
Cummings.
That was a weak character. In
But
my opinion.
but fun and goofy.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe we needed that. Maybe we needed a little bit of a goofy foil in this film because it was so serious.
Like a palate cleanser. Because I mean, think about the scenes that he was in. I mean, they're like shooting people through glass and stuff like. It was dark.
Oh yeah.
So they had this kind of
what they were doing in that lab was pretty dark too.
So they had Primo, who is the Cyclops guy with the fake eye.
Right.
And even in Cuba, they have all of the Spectre agents. They have the bionic eye with Blofeld looking through there.
Yeah.
It's kind of whimsical,
Oh, another thing that they kind of broke with tradition was, Bond typically would sleep with 2 women, right, during a film?
Usually,
and
yes.
one would always die.
One would die, yes.
So he only slept with 1 woman, and none of them died.
That's right.
So breaking formula again.
That's right. And yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is the film where they took the formula, and I even said this in some of the interviews.
Yeah, they threw it out the window.
They threw it out the window. I tried to put it very nicely that they stretched it. They threw it out the window.
Yeah.
And of course we will get to that. But all right, so he goes through this thing. He's got the scientists. Felix dies. He goes to London. Now, when he goes to London, he sort of becomes Bond again, but you get a lot of interplay with Moneypenny. Nomi now comes back, and there was a little bit of Nomi and Bond taking the mickey out of each other.
Yeah.
Was it, how did that go over for you?
Oh, I liked it. I think, again, it's this play of these characters, and they don't have to be men and women. It's just, she's an agent that happened to have taken his number or his 00 status or whatever they call it, right? And there's a little friction there, but it was it was well done.
It was.
Like
and it was
wasn't,
funny.
Like they didn't make it weird. Like they just made it. It was good.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Waller.
Bridge.
Phoebe Waller.
Waller.
Bridge Waller. Phoebe
Shit.
Waller.
Phoebe did a lot of the writing, and you can almost tell because
she's good.
And you and I have done this almost playfully. Like we'll kind of take the mickey out of each other a little bit and have a little bit of fun.
I like doing that.
Yeah, you almost have to. But I think in this particular way when they hit MI6, it's done well. It's not, demeaning to Bond. Bond isn't, turned into, demoralized character.
Right.
I thought it was efficient.
Yeah.
Effective.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. So Bond has his little tete-a-tete with M. And then
that was a bit of a tense scene as well.
What did you think of that with M?
The acting was fantastic.
It wasn't an M that I recognized.
No. Well, look, the confidence of M, and being like the head honcho, definitely, he was showing some cracks in the foundation there, but he was up to something that he knew wasn't right. And I think he got caught, and he was trying to deal with that at the moment.
I want to get your point of view, not just as a woman, clearly, but also as someone who, I like to call them a Bond fan victim, has been around me, who knows every quotes just by osmosis. But my whole, it's a bit of a negative with this film. I feel like there were moments in here where Daniel Craig is acting like Daniel Craig instead of James Bond. Did you get that feeling at times?
100%. His fingerprints were all over this film. I think the way he acted, certainly major plot points in this film had to have been heavily influenced by him.
Yeah.
Just had to be. There was no other way that it would have happened otherwise.
Yeah.
Particularly the ending, I think that was all him.
Which we're going to get to.
Yes.
That's going to be the big part of the discussion.
Yeah,
no, you're not rushing it.
Jumping.
Hey, we've got half a bottle of Bollinger, and you... Again, did I pour you champagne or did I not?
No!
Look at this. I feel like this glass has a leak in it or something. Hold on, I'll take care of that. All right. So Bond at this point, we've got a little bit of more complication because he wants to speak to Blofeld, but first he goes to Q's place.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that was such a charming scene with the cat and everything.
Oh, absolutely. He's making dinner for his date. I loved that. I love that whole scene. And I think the guy who plays Q, I'm so sorry, I can't remember his name at the moment. But he's great. And,
he is great.
And it would be nice to see him come back as Q again. But again, I think they've just completely raised the field on this one.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's coming back
No.
here. But I thought that was a nice kind of palate
It was
cleanser.
a human moment. Yeah, a little levity.
His scenes were great. I think
and
it was
again,
perfect.
like being progressive
Ben Whishaw.
and going... Ben Whishaw.
We'll get better.
And again, progressing with the times, like writing women not as women, but like as, good characters. And, let's be a little more representative. We finally have a character as part of the LGBTQ. Community, which I think is very refreshing.
And I think it was, again, it was done in a very...
It was done in the
well
right way.
written way and things like that. It's like he'll be here any moment.
Banging you over the head with anything. It's like, here's a guy. No. He's making dinner for his date, and that's like a normal, just regular everyday type thing.
I don't get into politics on this channel, you know that, but I will say that the people that were crying woke before this even came out are being shut up because the women. Q. This is normalcy. This is like how we live every day.
These people exist, and you know what? It's part of this world, and that's that.
Strong woman right here. Live with her. Exist. Survive. Thrive. So, not dead yet, but I mean the night's young, and she's just started her champagne. So, all right. So goes to Blofeld. We have the Blofeld moment. It's almost like the fava bean, Hannibal type thing. He's getting close, and he's.
That was really silly. That whole interchange was just.
Talk to me about it. What do you think?
Silly.
Was it important to the plot?
No.
Was it superfluous?
No. And in a way, it confused me because he's like, when you find out her secret, it'll be the death of you. Well, okay, yeah.
What's the secret?
Well, I guess the child, right? Yeah. But
how is that going to kill him?
Right. That's not. Well, it killed him ultimately because of.
But how could he have known that?
Exactly. And that's a bunch of baloney. And I think all it did was make the things confusing because he already knew that her father he worked for Spectre.
Right.
Right. He knew all of that. So it's not like.
Mr. White was one of his henchmen, his workers.
And he knew that.
Yeah.
Bond knew that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I completely unnecessary.
By the way, the Blofeld die.
Yeah.
That was.
It seemed but
it was. Agreed. Yeah. It was right out of Fleming. It was right out of a book.
But
it almost felt like some of the parts and you may have recognized them, like the On Her Majesty's Secret Service music, that particular part, some of the Fleming parts felt a little shoehorned in at times.
Yeah, it didn't quite click with, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, there was I'm not going to say the gentleman's name, you had dinner with him, but a very famous composer that you
David
sat
Arnold?
next. I wasn't going to say his name. Anyway.
Oh, were we not supposed to?
It's fine. I'm not going to edit this. He liked, it's fine. He liked Hans Zimmer's music a lot, really liked it. He thought the hearkening back to John Barry may have been something that may not have been earned. You know, because there's a certain gravitas to John Barry's music, and it's like you're pushing it in there, but the question has to be why.
Right, it didn't fit. It wasn't necessary.
And Blofeld, to me, this could have been Blofeld's film, and instead you have this moment that really doesn't serve the story at all.
No, it really didn't. It was kind of a weird addition. And I love Christoph Waltz, I think, is amazing. I loved him in every single role, except in the Bond films.
Wow.
I think, in
so
Spectre.
You didn't like him in Spectre?
Terrible. No, terrible.
I'm the author of all your nightmares.
He's such a good actor, and it was just terrible. And Rami Malek, same thing. I think he's an amazing actor. I loved him in the Queen movie. Yeah. But, oh my God. No.
Yeah,
we need to get better, like, baddies in the next films.
Okay,
because,
so
holy cow.
You know what? You segued it perfectly. Let's talk about Saffin.
Yeah.
Because Saffin, I thought, when this opened up in Norway with Madeline as a child, and she empties the clip, 9mm clip into him, it was a great Saffin moment. Then the rest of the film with Saffin just seemed very weak and anemic.
And a lot of it just didn't make any sense. Maybe if you knew more about the books or whatever, it would have made more sense. There was like little Easter eggy things that you picked up on that I went completely over my head.
Right.
So I guess that's where I guess it's that give and take with this film. You know, there are things thrown in there for the Bond fans who are more who know more about the films and the books and all this other stuff, and then there's things for the dates, you know, that may not know as much.
But Saffin wasn't for either.
Oof.
I mean, to me, Saffin just had this.
Where was he supposed to be from? Like, that's the weirdest accent I've ever heard.
I think he's from Transylvania.
That Transylvania is not a real place.
Wait, Transylvania is not a real place?
Well,
I think Transylvania...
He could be
Romania?
Romanian.
Maybe he's Romanian. But why is he surrounded by Japanese stuff?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. The island was nowhere near Romania.
No.
So I don't know. I couldn't figure any of that out.
Well, we're going to get to the ending in a second, but all right. So here, cheers, because now we're going to get into Crazy Land. Hold on a second. Grizzly Land. All right, here we go.
By the way, Norway looked gorgeous on film.
Norway looked gorgeous on film, and it looks gorgeous in real life. We had the pleasure of being there.
Yes.
So, and we'll take our time with this last part. Plenty of time, Q. Plenty of time. Oh. I will say this. When Bond follows Madeline to Norway, to me, the movie becomes a very different movie.
Yeah, because it does switch gears at that point.
It feels like it switches gears. Yeah. So he goes there. He enters the house. You get the same perspective as you did Saffin. And he's talking to Madeline. They're having a good conversation. Safe room. I'm buying it all. And then all of a sudden, Slinky. It's fun. It's a wonderful toy.
Well, they're introducing a child. And
I get it. But what did you think of Mathilde?
Oh, well, first of all, she's absolutely adorable.
She's adorable.
That little girl's adorable.
She's cute.
I kind of understand why she said she's not yours, but in a way, I kind of don't understand why she said that. Like, I guess she said it because she was bitter and angry, maybe, at the moment.
Well, there's two theories. Okay. Bitter and angry. Yeah. And I'd love to get a woman's point of view on this. Bitter and angry.
Okay.
The other thing is, after 5 years of being separated from him, and her basically putting her on a train, it's almost like, I'm not going to ask you to be the father. So I'm going to hide this aspect. What do you think? What do you think is the more logical one from a woman's point of view?
Well, yeah, no, that all of that makes sense. All of it. I would be super pissed off too, but I don't know.
In all fairness, you didn't tell me about our kids until 5 years in, but that's not true. Not true. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just seemed, I don't know. That was a weird moment.
Yeah, it seems like a little. I mean, I get it, but don't get it again.
Yeah.
It's kind of like.
And this is where I feel, and again, I want to get your point of view. This is where I feel Daniel Craig went to James Bond and go, tag, I'm in. Because when he's making breakfast and he's coring an apple for her,
Oh,
and
the
he goes,
departure
he
of
goes,
his character. Yeah.
how is it? And she's like,
Yeah.
mais non, or whatever, French is not bad.
I have no idea. I don't know anything. I don't know French. But yeah.
Je ne sais pas. But
Fait.
so
Je ne sais fait.
that's not French. We have a big French audience. Welcome. So
Love you.
the reality is like this is where I feel like it starts to go off the rails for me. Where I look back at Quantum of Solace, where Bond is cold, an assassin, and he doesn't talk
Yeah.
much.
No.
And all of a sudden, Bond has these big monologues. What did you think?
Oh yeah, I mean it was like I think well look, Daniel Craig has a very young child now, right? He has a young child that he had with
and he has an older child too.
Right, but I mean he is a new dad again.
Yes.
So it was very easy for him to
Alexa just went on. Alexa, stop! We're not editing that.
it was
I don't have an answer for
oh god.
Alexa, stop!
That's stupid. We should just unplug it.
By the way, these are the magical moments on video. Keep going. She threw you off. Alexa threw
No,
you
so
off.
yeah, so
Damn
Daniel
it.
Craig became Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig was no longer Bond at that moment. He became Daddy. So,
Daddy Craig.
Daddy, yeah.
Yeah. So
So and then he went into protective mode, right? He went
Oh.
into protective mode from then on in.
yeah. So you
From
got
what
the,
I can remember,
you got
yeah.
the Norway forest, Jurassic Park, Land of the Ewoks moment.
So pretty though. Yeah.
It was very pretty, and I actually liked that action scene.
Yeah, it was cool.
And Madeline is a
It was-
badass in it.
Yes, and again, I love that. Like she's a daughter of an assassin. He clearly taught her the skills, right?
Yeah.
And she wasn't this damsel in distress. Like I think all the older Bond films, like Bond had to protect the women. Well, the women in this film they could hold their own completely.
Totally.
Which I loved that.
Yeah. No, that was very effective. But so
Yeah.
let's talk about something because even before we get to Saffin's Island, which is going to be a whole conversation to itself.
fine.
Oh my God! Again, leaky bucket.
What?
No, it's fine. You're doing great. I'm just topping it off so it stays bubbly. The whole idea of Bond, and I think he's starting to realize he's got a family. He's got a woman that he loves, and he's got a kid, and now it becomes something very different to me. It's not and I get it, I'm old-fashioned, I'm traditional, and I live in the world of tropes with James Bond. But to me, it's got a different type of jeopardy. And there are a lot of people that said that they love the fact that he's protecting a child and his loved one because there's higher stakes than just the world. What did you think of that? As someone who loves their children and loves their family,
Yeah.
were you buying that?
It was almost strange to see James Bond become that so quickly. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And and here's another. So we were talking about why she kept, why she had said that the child wasn't his, but yet they fell into bed pretty quickly. Obviously, their connections reconnected very quickly. Why didn't she just at that moment just be like, hey, yeah, she really is yours? Like, right? Like, wouldn't you?
While you're betting me, we should bring up something.
Like, yeah, like that would have been a good time to mention it.
I mean, it wasn't until the very end that she
Right.
actually.
But he knew all along anyway, so I guess it really.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
But
hold on a second. How did Saffin know? How did Blofeld know? How did nobody at MI6 say,
Plot
hey,
holes.
Bond, listen, first of all, I know that she betrayed you, but we still,
Yeah, they
we
would've
still
had
put her
that
on the
intel.
payroll. Number one. Number
Yeah.
two, by the way, she got a tummy, and that tummy got bigger. And then
Yeah.
9 months later, she had no tummy. Just FYI to you.
yeah, right. Yeah, they had the intel. They didn't share it.
Sorry.
Plot holes. But there's plot holes in this film, and
By the way, we do have popcorn if you need something
thank
crunchy.
you.
Chicka boom, chicka boom. All right. So Bond and Nomi.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have to tell you, Nomi, I love as a character. I thought she was great.
Yeah.
I thought she was a better character in the first half of the film than she was in the second half. Second half, as soon as she picks him up in the car, she's almost like a utility player. She drives him to the plane. She drives the glider into the water. And then she's kind of his sidekick. She's Robin to his Batman. Like, she loses some of her oomph.
Yeah, but you know what? I think the fact that
It is a Bond movie.
Bond, who is typically used to being like the leader, he takes point on all the missions. She was flying that plane, right? And he sat in the back seat as a passenger. I found that to be very interesting.
And he was on the back seat of the scooter, too.
That's right, and he seemed to be okay with that, which I thought was that was kind of interesting. But I like the fact that she's so skilled.
Yeah.
That it was like, no, I'm going to be the one to fly this plane because you probably.
Well, sometimes it's good to be in the back and not the front.
Let that marinate for a second.
It's not a kid's show. Put the kids to sleep. Too late. All right, so they get onto Saffin's Island, and now you see Bond and Nomi kind of partnering up. What did you feel about the kind of tete-a-tete and, you know, the action between the two of them?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. There were certain elements of the island I totally didn't get.
Tell me. Like what?
So, like, one of it was the people in the biohazard suits or whatever, and they're shuffling about in the water. It's some sort of acid or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What the hell was the purpose of that? Like, what was...
And why were they shocked when the guy fell into the acid?
Right, and then
they
all
were
of a
like,
sudden they freak out and run away. I'm like, dude, you're like shuffling around and pushing whatever it is you're pushing in the acid.
How did you not know that was acid? Well, the other thing is, I suspect, as do many, that
and you explained that to me.
Yeah, that this was not about nanobots when they first filmed this. I think this was about viruses, and because of obviously the pandemic, they changed it. They went back and they filmed nanobots. There's even evidence of certain props that look like virus props. So chances are, and you know, mea culpa. Good on them for being sensitive about that, because that would have been like really on the nose.
Yeah.
That would have been tough. All right, so I'm so curious about this with you. So here's where, to me, the plot meets the plot, and it goes awry. So you have Bond meets Saffin,
right,
and you have these long dialogues, which sometimes they could be really well written, like Skyfall.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I love...
My grandmother had an island. Boink, 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 boink.
That was so well done. I love that.
So you can have really good ones. You can have the Goldfinger ones. How was Saffin and Bond? How was that interaction for you?
I think that Saffin was a very weak bad guy. You couldn't understand him. You couldn't hear him.
Hun, that was so good. No. You don't understand that.
Me.
I've done impressions of him.
Sorry.
You blew that away. I just want to be a bit tidier. We both eradicate people. Let's do the rest of this video in Saffin's voice. Would you like some more champagne?
I would. I think that perhaps it would be
preferable to drink it. Get a napkin so I could be a bit tidier.
One glass of champagne. Two glasses of champagne.
It is the count. It is the count.
And who doesn't like Sesame Street? Wow, we've really gotten off the rails. Anyway, let's refocus.
All right, so Daniel Craig starts to talk about, I mean, this really gets emotional where he's like, you didn't even give them a chance, before you started the fight. And, is that what happened to you and your mom? And it just seems so emotional.
Yeah.
Right? A little bit.
I think, well, look, this film ultimately really wanted people to just cry by the end.
I think you might be right. Because
they were building up to that.
All right, so Bond does have a moment with Saffin where he gets scratched, he gets shot, he shoots Saffin.
Well, let's before we even get to that whole scene of him trying to get up to where he could open up like the blast doors or whatever, for lack of a better word. Now I'm like crossing over into Star Wars blast doors, but when he had to
Close the blast doors. Close the blast doors.
That was so well shot.
Oh,
that whole, and it was like gritty, and he's using people as shields, and
so you're talking about when he's going up those steps, that one shot.
Yeah,
okay.
That was
so
really
here's the
well
thing.
done.
We've interviewed Cary Fukunaga.
Yeah.
He deserves every accolade in the book. He did an amazing job.
Yeah.
He's known for shooting these non-cut scenes. And I thought they were playing tricks until when I interviewed Daniel Craig and he talked about that scene, they did that in 2 takes.
Wow.
Yeah. So they did one
That's
and then
one
they
more
did
than
a
we do
second
for
one
this.
and that's it. What's that?
That's one more than we'll do for this. Sorry.
We ain't doing this again.
Not the same
I'm
type
not
of
even cutting
cinematic.
Alexa out. Or your like Count Chocula thing that you just did.
But yeah, I love that scene was so
Oh.
well done. It was great. So I think, they tried to intersperse
Yeah.
between the sad moments, the emotional moments, and they would put in some action to make it a little more palatable, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
So let's pause for a second before we get to the ending, and talk about some of the aspects of the film that are up for debate. So
Okay.
people go to Bond to escape. It is a
Yes.
fantasy.
Yeah.
How was the action overall for you?
I thought it was good. I thought it was adequate.
It's not glowing.
Oh.
Adequate, good.
Well, so there were times, right? So like you had Matera with the motorcycle coming up over the steps and then doing that jump. Did somebody really do that jump, by the way?
That was done for
Yeah,
real.
that's insane.
No wires, by the way.
Yeah, holy cow. Whoever the stunt person does that was just wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
So all of that was so good. And then I mean it was the chase scene in Norway, yeah,
Okay.
it's okay.
You like the Paloma part you already said.
Paloma was great.
Yeah.
But it seemed like snippets, but that's okay. Like we don't need a constant download
No.
of adrenaline rush action all the time, because I think you kind of
You want the character
you lose
stuff. And,
lose some of the plots were loose in this movie. Anyway.
What did you think of the action when he gets to the island? He's in the NPL sweater and he's kind of going around blasting. And the reason I asked it is a lot of people thought that suddenly turned into a little video game-ish. Like it was too easy for him. Like he's like bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, but it's always very easy for Bond, isn't it? In all the films, like
And it should be. He's skilled.
right.
Yeah.
And these flunky henchmen, they always die very quickly in every film. So I don't think anybody should be grousing about that.
Yeah. Stop your grousing.
Yeah, stop your grousing. That's formula. That's more formula
That is true.
than not.
Yeah. So, music.
Yes.
What did you think of the music in this film?
It's so funny. I paid attention so much to what was going on and the emotions that I was not really noticing the music all that much.
Okay.
So, sorry to
I love the music.
Hans Zimmer did the music.
It is Hans Zimmer. And
Yeah,
Hans Zimmer's
so-
one of his partners, in all fairness, I think, who helps him with these a lot.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer is great. I mean, we
like
went and
it.
saw him in concert and everything, and very enjoyable.
He
does
used the Bond theme a lot.
great
a lot.
scores.
Yeah.
But again, I think I was so wrapped up in the emotions of what was going on that I didn't really notice the music so much, and maybe that's okay, because
Yeah.
maybe in a film where it's very dramatic, you don't want the music to be at the forefront. You want it to enhance the storyline.
So let's talk about the emotion, because there's a part where Saffin and Bond are talking and he's got Mathilde. And as a mother of 2 children,
That we
that
know of.
aren't children anymore. The what?
So that we know of. I'm just kidding.
What the hell does that mean?
No, it's a joke.
Well, I don't know if it's a joke, because I see this money go out every month and I don't know where it's going.
Oh.
No, I don't.
You would have noticed
That's
if
a
I had
joke.
more children.
Yeah, that's true. So, what I mean, as a mother, are you sitting there going like, "Oh my gosh, that poor kid"? Like, what's going through your mind? Do you feel for Madeline as a mother, like she lost her child? Are you buying it?
Yeah, that's a lot of questions.
Take any one of them.
So yeah, I mean, as a mother, anytime your child, particularly a young child, is out of your reach or eyesight, it becomes extremely stressful and emotional. So yeah, I'd be completely freaking out. But it's a Bond film, so I would have to assume I never felt that child was in jeopardy.
Right.
And I know they were trying to make it seem like there was peril, but it's like there's no way they're going to have like a kid get hurt. Like that's just
Right.
There's no way.
Were you more
So
concerned for doo-doo?
The doo-doo. We need to discuss the doo-doo. So
Talk to me about the doo-doo.
whoever's talented on Etsy, get on making that doo-doo. I'm sure maybe somebody's made it by now.
We need that as a Christmas gift.
So cute.
It is cute.
The doo-doo's cute.
And it factors into the film, too.
But the doo-doo, it doesn't survive. And that's more
Incinerated.
sad in some ways. No, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Listen, you know,
The
you
poor
gotta.
doo-doo.
Everybody, I think, feels for the doo-doo because the doo-doo was innocent. The doo-doo came into the story thinking like,
Yeah.
I'm just a child's plaything, and then at the end, it's like, I'm being incinerated by missiles that probably cost $1 billion a piece.
Wow, we got real deep and dark on that one.
Well, it's a doo-doo dark
quickly.
moment.
Oh, so what I don't understand is, okay,
Oh.
so Saffin has a child, right? And
Yes.
he's taking her away.
I know where you're going to go with this. Keep going.
She bites him, which I'm like, all right, good on you, Mathilde.
Yeah.
And he just drops her and just leaves her. I'm like, oh, what?
Makes no
It makes no sense.
There's so much
No sense.
with this plot area that doesn't make sense.
That,
like,
yeah, this whole part, once they got to the island especially,
and then
I'm
he says,
like,
let's go meet the buyers.
What
buyers now? I thought you wanted to kill millions of people because you had this big what? No.
right, yeah, that made no sense.
No. And why does he let her go if this was like your connection to the woman you love, supposedly?
Right. Well, and the linchpin to get her to do what he wants.
Right. And
Right.
why
just
introduce
gives it up. Why?
Why introduce the poison garden? What was that for?
Wasted.
I mean, the Q was Q in the little overalls.
Oh, she's adorable. Yeah.
She's adorable.
Yeah.
All right. So they get rescued. Nomi takes them
Yeah.
off the island.
Which was cool that a woman was doing the, rescuing
Yes.
for once, which I thought that was
Although there is a discussion, since you
Oh.
haven't seen any of the reviews, of like, all right, so Nomi's this badass agent, a double O,
Yeah.
and she's basically assigned to go in a dinghy and take a mother and her child off the thing as opposed to help Bond
With the mission.
destroy. But it's a Bond movie.
But it was really
is a
important.
Bond movie.
It is really important what she did. And you know what? In all fairness, though, I think Leah's character was skilled enough. She could have taken her and the child off the island herself.
I agree.
Like, why she could have
Yeah.
done that, right?
No, totally agree.
Yeah. Good point. I didn't even think about that one.
All right, so Craig
Yeah.
starts to climb up the ladder,
Yeah.
and at this point,
But and he's shot to hell. So I'm thinking like,
Hmm.
all right, how many bullets did he have in him in probably pretty
3?
bad area?
German 3?
Yeah. Like, how's he climbing this thing?
Yeah.
There's a lot. Okay, so yeah. So all right, let's just
Let's do
back
it.
it up a little
Let's
bit.
do it.
So,
Back it up.
All right. So I don't see. All right. So I there's things I get and things I don't get. So he's
Okay.
got the watch with the EMP in it, right?
Yes.
Could he have just gone like to himself and like all the little bots would have died?
You mean could the EMP watch destroy the nanobots?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So, and even if they felt that couldn't, could Bond have jumped into the water at some point?
Right.
Somehow survives all of his bullet wounds. MI6 can isolate him somewhere, right, in like a clean room, and Q would have gotten on that and figured something out. But
Yes.
right. So this
Or
is Craig. This is where Craig comes in. Craig's like, you know what? Did my stint. Bond's not gonna live. It's all going with me.
I am so
And
proud
I'm never
of
coming
this woman.
back as Bond.
Yeah. Well, but don't you think that was a discussion? There had to be a discussion. They're
Yeah.
sitting in a room
Yeah.
at EM Productions and they're saying, how can we tell the audience that there's no way that you're
Right.
coming back? Let's
Craig's not coming back for another
incinerate you. Let's turn you into dust. And
Yeah.
by the way, doo-doo with you.
Doo-doo's going with you.
Doo-doo's
Yeah.
going with you.
Now, why they gotta do doo-doo like
Because
that?
unless you think there's going to be an Amazon show with Paloma and Doo-Doo, it ain't going to happen. Paloma and Doo-Doo. That sounds like
No, but they
a
could
buddy
do-
cop movie.
No,
Paloma
but they
and
could do but they could have like a little child's like a little animated thing with doo-doo.
So there was a friend of mine who had a great idea for a different ending where basically, you know, Madeline and Matilda going through the tunnel and she goes, I'm going to tell you about Bond, James Bond.
Yeah.
And they go back to her home in Norway and on the counter is
the
Doo-Doo.
doo-doo.
And it basically says you're still alive.
But can doo-doo carry nanobots?
No! Maybe. No! Maybe.
Probably
know.
not. I don't know.
No, because don't you have to be human to carry nanobots?
I don't know because the bots don't necessarily need human flesh
You know what?
to live.
Let me call Ben Winshaw. Oh, we're filming on my camera. I can't. Ben, call me. We need to know.
Yeah.
All right. So Bond walks up.
Yeah.
the music, and you called this out. The music is
Yeah.
like this, like,
Oh, it's,
please start crying music.
well, yeah, they're
Is it
trying
too much?
to elicit tears. It was heavy-handed.
I mean, even the angle as the missiles are coming, they rise over him.
Oh, it was, come on. Heavy-handed. Yes, that part was heavy-handed.
Did you get emotional?
I didn't.
She never does.
No, you know why? Because, all right, so as soon as he got infected,
Yes.
right? And you already knew at that point. But then when he kind of checked in with Q, like, hey, you know, what can we do about this? Nothing. Okay, so you're like, all right, the only natural next step would be Bond has got to die on that island.
Yeah.
So you knew it was coming. If you thought it wasn't coming, I'm sorry. But you knew it was coming.
You don't deserve to be walking.
No, but it's kind of like, and again, if you know Craig, like, you knew this is the way he wanted to go out.
Good point. But by the way,
So much finality. Like, he wanted finality, and he got it.
So the audience needs to know
Yeah.
something about Danielle that you may not know.
Oh.
Danielle will watch a movie with me, and 5-7 minutes in, she'll be like, "Oh, bang!" And she'll tell me
Sorry.
the last 5 minutes of the movie. Like she is a detective's daughter. You have to
I'm
understand.
sorry.
She's a cop's daughter, so she has this intuitive nature.
The daughter of Spectre.
You are the daughter of Spectre. You are Madeline, but you have this weird way of like just understanding, and I'm sitting there like, oh my god, and it's like
Yeah,
almost
I
like
hate to ruin it for
100%
you.
right.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
Um,
Even in Royal Albert Hall,
Uh-huh.
at what point did you know he was going to die?
the moment he got the nanobots on him.
Okay, so when he was scratched.
Well, it wasn't scratch. I think the vial broke on his face.
Yeah, he like
right?
raked him or something
And then
like that.
I was like, whoop, that's it. He's infected. He's got to go.
Okay.
Because it could kill the child, right?
So me being the ever hopeful idiot, I
I
sat
have no
there.
hope.
I sat there thinking like, all right, the building's going to fall in. I mean, it is a bunker after all. He
Yeah. Mm.
could go deeper, or there's going to be like a Dark Knight return scene. But you knew that he was just dead.
He had to go at that point, yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
All right. So this is going to be a tough one, and I want you to be a woman as you are.
Oh.
When it ended,
Uh-huh.
do you find this a more satisfactory film from your point of view as a woman than you can imagine a man would have it because of the emotional, the connection with the child and the family and
Right, so
the
this
poetic death?
well,
and-
the sacrifice, right? He sacrificed his life
right.
for his family. And I think
That's a beautiful thing.
it's
right?
not very Bond-like. Maybe in a way it is, because he's saving his own little world for once instead of the entire world, but which he happened to do both at the same time. But yeah, see, so I think that's where kind of like that emotional. You guys were emotional because Bond blew up. Maybe I would have felt emotional because he sacrificed himself for his child.
Knowing how, because we have older children.
Yeah.
What are they? 35 and 21. How old are our kids?
Anyway, go ahead. The point.
They're like mid-20s and late 20s, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, knowing what you know about raising children, would you have sacrificed yourself for your children?
Yes, 100%.
See, I'm like 50%.
Right, but that's the difference between I think mothers and fathers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm like 50%. Or maybe some of them I would. But here's the reality. Did you leave that film satisfied?
Yes and no. So I felt
Okay.
it was very complete. Okay, so Craig, he finished his era.
Hurrah.
Era. He finished his era.
Hurrah.
Era. He finished his era
Yeah, you're right.
the way he wanted to. Craig, the way Craig wanted to.
Right.
And he did that. Oh, okay. There were just plot holes and things that happened in the film where I was just like, but wait, huh? Wait, that doesn't make sense. Why'd they put that in there? They needed to elaborate on this. Why didn't, you know what I mean? So like that, there was a lot of issues with that kind of stuff after the fact, which I think we kind of covered throughout this conversation.
But I think that's why I may have a problem, because there's so much discussion about this ended the Daniel Craig era of Bond the way Daniel Craig wanted to. I'm hearing a lot of Daniel Craig. I'm not hearing a lot
He was a
of...
producer on the film, right?
No, I understand.
And I think he influenced Barbara a lot. Sounds like they had a very good
100%.
relationship.
100%.
So I'm sure he had input on the script.
Yes. But here's my problem. James Bond is a character.
Yeah.
Nobody said Roger Moore needs to end it like Roger Moore. Nobody said Pierce Brosnan needs to end it like Pierce Brosnan. George Lazenby, Sean Connery.
I don't think these prior Bonds had the control or power that they had over the character that Daniel Craig did.
But isn't that maybe problematic?
I think it's extremely problematic. I don't think the actors should be having that much input. I think they should show up and do their job. They are the actors. Yeah, so I don't know.
So let's move on because we've got...
Probably not very diplomatic.
We've got...
Just like everybody else has to show up to their job. Just do your job.
Just do your job, damn it.
Yeah, just, I don't know.
So we have a Bond 26 coming up eventually. Let's
Hope it doesn't take how many years?
Well, we can hope it's going... At the minimum, it's going to be 3 years, I believe.
Right, because they haven't even... Supposedly they haven't chosen. I think they already know.
Well,
but they're not announcing
next
anything.
year is going to be the 60th anniversary, so they're going to focus on that. So they're not going to announce it. I could see them announcing in October of 2022 the new Bond. Then they start filming, and so you're not going to get anything until 2023 at the earliest, probably 2024. Again, I'm going to objectify you, but as a woman,
Yes.
do you want the repeat of No Time to Die as far as, do you want family? Do you want kids? Do you want sacrifice? Or do you want them to go back to, we're looking at Roger Moore over here in the right-hand corner. Do you want them to go back to some more of the tropes of James Bond? No wrong answer here.
It all depends on what direction they want to go in. So,
What direction would you want?
okay, so...
Popcorn.
Heavy pause. So, I don't think love and family has any place in a Bond film. Sorry. It has... It has its moments
Sorry.
in
Happy dance.
so
Happy dance.
many other films. Not with this.
Notting Hill.
Not that I necessarily want him to be misogynistic and women have, like these really pat on the butt type roles. I'm not for that.
What's wrong with a pat on the butt?
I do like a good pat on the butt, but I'm just saying I think it's okay to move away from that.
Okay.
I like the way that the women were written in this film, but I don't necessarily think we need to emasculate Bond as much. So
I could end the video here because yes. And by the way, first of all, if I haven't cued you on anything,
No.
like this is your
no,
opinion.
because I mean it's James Bond.
It's James Bond.
What are we doing?
It's not a rom-com. This is not Ryan Gosling film or one of these like Netflix, $2 films. This is James Bond. If you're signing up for James Bond, you kind of know what you're signing up for.
Epic locations, action, cold-hearted killer.
2 women, 1 dies.
That's okay if that doesn't happen anymore.
Oh.
The women in distress business, I think.
What about beautiful women,
fine.
beautiful women, beautiful men? I'm
fine with looking at all that. Yeah. That sounds good to me.
Right.
Who we got?
No, I don't know. Well, all right. So
Yeah, I know.
who do you want?
You're baiting me.
No, but who do you want as Bond?
No, so I think ever since I saw Henry Cavill, did I say that correct?
You did. Travel Cavill.
Okay, got it. In the movie that he did, he was a spy. It was in Rome. What was the name of that movie?
Wow.
I liked it. It was a Guy Ritchie film. Help me.
Wait. Guy Ritchie film.
Yeah.
Rome, spy.
Yeah, and took place in the 60s. It was.
Oh my gosh, Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yes.
Guy Ritchie did that, right?
He did.
He did. Okay.
Very good.
Ever since I saw him in that film, I'm like, he would make an amazing Bond.
He would make an
And
amazing
I would
Bond.
love for them to go back. See, but now we're dealing with the misogyny. Though.
No,
go
ahead.
back to the 60s.
But why?
A period piece, I think, would be really cool.
But here's the thing.
But the way they left this film, you have to reboot this heavily because they blew everybody up. Everybody either blew up or died or...
Yes.
You know,
and
it's just-
I was with you until you said misogyny, because I would actually argue that in the 1960s, the way
Yeah.
they did the Bond films, they had very strong women. Pussy galore.
Some of them, yeah.
Even though there was a little romp in the hay, she was a very strong woman leading... Roll in the hay. What's that from?
Yeah, Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, very good. We've been
digress,
caged
but I
together for
digress.
too long.
I digress.
But that's the reality. It's that I think that they can go back. I mean, the Karate Kid series.
Oh man, it was awesome.
But why do we like those so much?
Yeah, because it was unapologetic.
It was.
Yeah, it harkened back to a time that we could identify with, which was like from the 80s.
And it also,
Yeah.
when people gravitate to labels and do you straddle left, do you straddle right, it straddled in the
straddle both.
middle and it offended everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I almost want a Bond that's an equal opportunity offender.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go with that.
You go with that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Henry Cavill, that's
yeah,
your choice?
I like him. How could you
It's
not?
very commercial, and I know a lot of people don't like
Yeah,
that.
they're
but
gonna go with an unknown, and I know that, and
Yeah.
that's fine. And I know everybody keeps talking about Idris, which he would have been phenomenal 15 years ago when he was
too
younger.
old.
He's too old. That's my problem. I'm like, the poor guy. I'm sorry. He's like around my age, close to it.
Huh.
Too old.
But they did a great job with him in Suicide Squad 2.
That's the thing. He was amazing in that.
It was amazing.
Yeah, totally believable that he was that like capable. So yeah, I don't know, but because you want Bond to be, hopefully it doesn't take them, 5 years between each film. Like they
Right.
could crank these out more in the traditional sense of every 2 years. Could we get back to that? Would be great.
So here's how we're going to end this video.
Okay.
And Danielle didn't know this was coming.
Oh, I didn't.
I would like, because you have consumed, you poor thing, all 25, maybe even more movies of Bond.
How many have there been?
There's been 25 plus if you go outside of Eon Canon, but don't get me started. The Craig films.
Yeah.
Casino Royale,
Right.
Quantum of Solace,
Uh-huh.
Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. I would like you to rank these
In order?
in order of worst to best.
All right.
And I can name them again if you want.
Worst.
Take your time.
Worst for me.
Yes.
For me, was definitely Spectre.
All right.
That film had just so many problems.
What were some of the problems?
Everything.
Some of the problems. What was the problems? Everything.
There was
Everything.
just so many problems.
Okay.
And then would probably be Quantum after that.
What?
I know
No.
you love Quantum.
How are you doing?
Wait, what were the other three? It was
Skyfall.
Skyfall.
No Time to Die.
No Time to Die. And,
And,
okay, so then
Casino.
No Time to Die after that.
Okay.
We're going worst to best, right?
Yes, yes.
Skyfall I liked a lot.
Yeah.
And then the best was Casino. Yeah.
Casino was great. What'd you like about Casino?
It had everything. It was such a complete story.
Yeah.
The song was great.
It was great.
Chris Cornell.
I know.
It was such a good song. And just everything about it. Like everything made sense. There was no plot holes. It was very complete. Bond was Bond, So, yeah. So that's how I would rank them.
No, that's perfect. Actually, mine is very close. And it's changed over time. So mine is
Do tell.
Spectre. It is No Time to Die. It's Quantum of Solace. It's Skyfall. And it's Casino Royale. And it used to be No Time to Die was higher, but unfortunately over time,
It's
No
getting
Time
worse
to
for
Die
you.
is slipping.
Yeah, and I can get that. And I think the only reason why I would put No Time to Die over Quantum of Solace, or Qualis, everybody says it,
It's Quantum of Solace.
is because of the things I had mentioned. Like there was gonna hate put labels, blah.
That's all right.
As a woman, there were things that I could really enjoy about that film that a traditional Bond fan would not like.
It's interesting. So,
I
I
think
mean, one of
that's
the
probably
takeaways
why.
I can get for this,
And I like the way the women were written, so that puts it over.
I mean, This 1 hour conversation, one of the
Oh my
things I
God.
think people, no, I went
What
quick.
the hell?
Though.
Who stayed this long? If you're still here.
Oh, can I tell you something?
Cheers.
Everyone stayed this long. The 1 hour conversation we had, one of the takeaways is that I think Bond fans that are men can easily take their spouses,
Oh, 100%.
their families, I mean, not kids.
Little kid. But I think kids like 10 and over,
But you're going to
I think
take,
would be fine.
all right, would you take, all right, let's say I've got a nephew. No, let's not even think of age.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, hey, you've never seen a Bond film. Let's go to this Bond film.
Ooh.
This is your first Bond film?
Yee.
Where Bond, like,
No.
doo-doo dies?
No. I probably would sit down, like, on one of the streaming services, or if you have them on DVD or whatever, watch some of those other ones first.
Yes.
And then take them to see No Time to Die.
I know. All right. Well, we have finished. It is done. The Bollinger. Oh, cheers.
So,
Wow, there's nothing left.
cheers.
So I'm like just going to drown this. It's nothing. Sorry. What a terrible ending.
It was terrible because,
You know how like Johnny Depp says all the rum's gone?
yeah, why is all the champagne gone?
Why is all the champagne gone?
But why is all the champagne gone?
Because we're done with the video. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, yeah, of course.
Did you have fun?
Yes.
Oh, because of the champagne.
Thank you, Luke. Luke
Luke
Thank you.
Taggart.
Thank you, Luke.
What channel is he from?
Bond's apartment.
Oh,
I'll have to see that.
wow.
The brain still works.
That's impressive.
No,
Because I
it's
can't
really
even remember
not.
his channel.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been David Zaritsky.
Danielle Zaritsky.
Did you forget your name?
Yeah, no.
And we've been talking about No Time to Die. He said, she said, but you know what? I think we're kind of in agreement on this. There really hasn't been a battle royale on this.
Yeah, and you know what? I think part of it is
Say it.
I'm not into the things a typical woman would be into, so
Yeah.
that could be the reason why.
That's right. My friends call her Raven, or Marion Ravenwood,
Oh.
like from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So that'll give you a perspective of Danielle. I think that's a
yeah.
really nice encapsulation
I
from
like
a movie
that.
character.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll
Yeah.
take that. I like Marion. She's
Tough.
awesome.
Tough but
She's
sexy.
badass.
Tough but sexy.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, hon.
You're welcome.
And we will see you all real soon. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.